Today, I'll discuss the performance review that I received from my school. Basically, this is where the manager observes one of my classes and gives feedback on my teaching ability. Currently, uh, when I did my performance review, I was at about 5.5 months teaching, and at the time of this recording, I hit like 6 months of teaching. So the feedback, I'm going to go over the feedback that I received, both positive things and things I need to improve on. So I taught this class 2 weeks ago, and then I'll also discuss the post-observation discussion that I had with my manager about a week ago. So the background of this specific class, there are 8 students. They're around 6 years old, and the topic is daily activities, like morning routines, evening routines, afternoon routines. So, like, what do you do in the morning? I brush my teeth in the morning. So this is lesson 1 of this unit. So this is the first time they'll be exposed to it. So when we did the review, what I did well, in terms of when I discussed it with my manager, is in my lesson plan. So every class we do a lesson plan. My manager said I was able to make a very well learner profile. Basically, a learner profile is where you write the details of each student. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? How is their behavior? And then you can also discuss, like, how can you assist this student that might be weaker. So she said I did that very well, and then anticipated problems and potential solutions. So this particular class, there are 2 students who misbehave a lot, and 1 student who kind of zones out and kind of like just rolls around on the floor, like they're 6 years old. So those 3 students actually are very very bright. They get the information very quickly. So sometimes I feel like they might feel bored because they already know that, like, they learn it so fast, the English word. So keep in mind, this is in China, and I'm teaching Chinese kids. So, and also I was able to achieve the lesson name. So every lesson there is a lesson name that you want to achieve in what they learn. So those are some things, and then timing of the activity. So in the lesson plan for this class, there's an hour that I need to teach, and every minute. So you plan each activity down to the minute. So for example, in the beginning, I'll give class rules, so that'll take me less than a minute. So I allocate 1 minute, and I write down from what time to what time. So my class is from 7:30 to 8:30. Then from 7:30 to 7:31, I will give my rules for the class. So since we're teaching English, I'll say no Chinese, or I say Chinese yes or no, and this class will respond no. Pushing, fighting, yes or no, they'll say no. So each of the little details, so the timing of the activities. So for example, if there's an activity where I need to go through the flashcards, I need to be able to estimate the amount of time I use. So I didn't realize it, but the manager was actually has had a watch keeping track of how long I was doing each activity. And she said my timing was very good, and that I never fell behind more than 2 minutes. So it takes a lot of time to estimate exactly how much time you need for each activity, because your class size will also dictate it. So if there's like an activity that you need students to do, and let's say 2 students participate each time, and you have 8 students, then you have to like estimate how long is it going to take each pair of students. So if you say I estimate it's 30 seconds each pair, then for 8 students it'll be 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. So it'll be 2 minutes for a full rotation, right? Or maybe if you're going to give it one person a try, then it might be 4 minutes, right? So you just have to really calculate, and then you also have to calculate transition time as well. So I had to really spend a lot of time creating the lesson plan and calculating how much time I need to do each activity. I, in general, have a good idea of, especially for young, like really young learners, the amount of time that I need for each activity. So timing was good. The next part was I did really well is what they call CCQs. This is concept checking questions. CCQ stands for concept checking questions. Basically, what this means is that when you teach something, so let's say I brush my teeth in the morning. So they might not know what morning means. So you want to kind of check their understanding. So, or I go to bed in the evening. So they might not fully understand the full sentence. They know that what go to bed means, right? You do the gesture, right? You do some hand gestures, body language, so that like you put your hands in a motion where you put your head down to sleep. They're like, oh, that's sleeping, so go to bed. They know what that is. But they don't know, like, they might not know morning, afternoon, evening, especially since this is the very first time that they're learning it in class. So the way I did the concept checking question was, do we go to bed in the morning? Yes or no? And they're like, some will say yes and some will say no. I'm like, no. And then like, oh no. And then do we go to bed in the afternoon? It's like, no. Do we go to bed in the evening? And I'm like, yes. And then since I was teaching it at nighttime, I was like, is it evening right now? And they didn't fully understand. So like, yes, it's evening right now. So it takes some time for them to grasp the understanding, because one of the things is you aren't allowed to use Chinese to teach the class. So you want to kind of fully immerse the students in English. The next one that I did pretty well was giving instructions, and then also giving instruction checking questions. So giving instructions, grading of language, basically grading of language just means using language simple enough for the 6-year-old to understand. A 6-year-old of a foreign language, so their English is not their first language, so you have to like lower your language level and make the sentence as simple as possible. So you simplify it down when you give instructions to do a task. So you just say, number 1, listen. Number 2, write. So if you want them to like do a writing activity, say number 1, listen, and then you might say something. Listen, cat, cat, cat. Number 2, write, cat, and then you might demonstrate it. And then you do instruction checking questions. So you'll say, can we listen? Yes or no? They'll say yes. Can we write? Yes or no? And then you also want to make sure that they don't do misbehaviors, like can we scribble? Yes or no? So like scribbling, sometimes they'll get bored and they'll scribble. Can we talk to our friends? And you gesture talking to your friends, because they'll get distracted. So you want to do these instruction checking questions. So I did that for like almost all the activities, each transition. So and then we go into the what I need to improve on, some of the things that I didn't do as well. One of the things that I had trouble with was really difficult students, the two students that really misbehaved. One of them, they know they're doing something bad, and they do it on purpose to kind of test the boundaries to see how far they can go. And he loves to do it, and he's like really smart. Like he knows like all the English, like everything you learn in English, he gets it really fast. And then the other one is like a little bully. Like he will zone out, and then he might like bully someone. He's like a little bit bigger than the other children. So these two, they kind of were constantly misbehaving. And one of the things I didn't realize I was doing was that so we would say like bye-bye stars. That's punishment, right? So if you do something bad, we'll say bye-bye stars, and then we should take away the stars like after a certain number of times, because I was taught to give them 3 chances, or I mean take it away on the third time, right? So say it once, say it twice, and then the third time you take it away. But apparently my manager at the end said that I was waiting too long. I should just do it right away, or if you say one more time, bye-bye stars. Then if they do that thing one more time, then you take away their stars. And then because the whole time, whenever I said bye bye stars, he was like, no, 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 no. But then he would go straight back into doing that same exact behavior. So there wasn't a punishment to basically give him negative reinforcement. It wasn't happening fast enough. So one of the things that I need to improve on is no empty threats. So do what you say you will do. So if you're going to take away stars, you're going to take away stamps, or you're going to do something, make sure you do it. Or if you're going to tell their parents, make sure you actually do what you're going to say. So if you say one more time, you do this one more time, then bye-bye stars. And then actually take it away. So that's what I need to improve on. And then the other thing is that I was focusing like on the negative. I wasn't giving those misbehaving students positive reinforcement, right? So I need to give them negative reinforcement and give it a little bit quicker, and also give them positive reinforcement. So that's what I lacked. So positive reinforcement might be awarding stars when they do something well, or saying good job to them when they do something good, or high fives, something of that nature. So, or if they're sitting and they're not speaking to anyone, then that's like good behavior that we want. So we want to have them get the feedback loop that is like, this is good. I want you to keep on doing this. So I'm going to give you a star. I'm going to give you a high five. I'm going to give you praise when you do something good. And then you do something bad, then you need to like have that feedback loop, and very quickly that they can realize it, because they're 6 years old. So the next thing that I had to improve on was the refocusing technique. Basically, what a refocusing technique for classes is basically where you say a chant and then the class responds with an answer. So, for example, the teacher says 1, 2, 3. They'll say A, B, C. 1, 2, 3. A, B, C. Right. So, and this is like a feedback loop to get them to refocus. So I was using it throughout the class, and I didn't realize this was happening. My manager pointed out to me, she was saying it was more effective in the beginning, but it was less effective at the end. And she was like, do you know why? And I didn't know why. But she said that in order to make it more effective is towards the end of the class, when you give the refocusing technique, when you say like 1, 2, 3, and then they say A, B, C, they need to get stars. So by giving them stars, they or giving some kind of reward, they know, oh, like I should respond, or I should refocus. And sometimes they're still like talking, or they're transitioning and they're distracted. So this refocusing technique, and when they see someone else get stars, they will say it as well. And then they'll put their hands together, and they'll sit nicely in a good posture, so that they get stars. So that's something that I had to improve on. And then the other thing was chasing of students. So what that basically means was there was one activity where I gave them each cutouts of letters. So the letters might be like a C, an A, a T, a U, an E, some kind of letters. And basically I would say different letter sounds, and they had to form the word. So maybe I would say ka-ata, right? I would say like the sounds for cat, and then they have to go find the letters, and then they have to put it there. The only thing is that I was going around the room, so the 8 students, they're all sitting on the floor in disorganized manner, and I was thinking, like I was self-reflecting, that I should have had them seated in a certain order so I can efficiently check. However, my manager said I could have done it more efficiently, because they're 6 years old and they have the ability to do that activity on their own without me trying to help them and fix them. Like they can figure it out. And they sometimes they were a little distracted, and I had to go around the room to help each one. So what she said I needed to do was award stars for finishing, and award stars I can also award stars based on who finishes first. Like first person to finish, you get 3 stars, and you put 3 stars next to their name. So if I had done that, then they would be racing to try to finish faster, and that would keep them focused on the activity. And I was doing the opposite, right? I was chasing them, and I was trying to get them to do the activity and get them to focus. But if I had put the reward, like who finishes first, and then they would be quickly trying to finish to get more stars. And so those were some of the things that I needed to improve on. And that was one of the things that I would focus on. And I had just had 2 classes following since that observation. So I started implementing it in the last 2 classes of teaching this specific class. So what I found is that the refocusing technique, it does work. It's very effective. The refocusing technique combined with immediate positive reinforcement of stars. So I'll say 1, 2, 3, and then some of them, only one person says ABC, then I'll only give that one person 2 stars. And then I'll say again 1, 2, 3, and then because everyone else saw that they get stars, everyone says ABC. So I give everybody stars, but the person that said it initially gets extra 2 stars. And then everyone else just gets the normal 2 stars. So that's like, it really kind of showed me that the power of the reward system, and you just really, really have to consistently use it, especially for these really young learners, because they really do care about their stars, and they really care about their stamps, they really care about their rewards, stickers, or whatever you're trying to give them. And you always tie those behaviors and activities, like their behavior, tie it to that, getting them to finish the things, tie it to that. So that's really does work. And towards the end of the class, they started to kind of lack focus. When I said 1, 2, 3, they didn't immediately say ABC towards the end of the class, but once I started giving the rewards for the stars, everybody's just snapped back and refocused and stopped talking, and everybody just refocused. So that one immediately started working. And then the 2 misbehaving students, no empty threats. So I found that it does work. It does work, and they start behaving a little bit more. Not completely, because one of them, the one that's more of a little bully, he started behaving a lot better, and I was like really surprised. But he started behaving really a lot better. The other one who just likes to push the boundaries, the one that likes to push the boundaries, he does behave a little bit better, but he just he can't help himself. He really wants to push the boundaries. Like every time he pushes the boundary, I immediately take away a star. And then today in class, he was down to 0 stars. So I had to say 1, 2, 3, and everyone says ABC, and I had to give everyone 4 stars so that he doesn't have 0 stars, because I need him to have stars in order to take away his stars. Like if he's on 0, there's nothing to take away, because he kept on misbehaving. So what I found was also very impactful was the positive reinforcement. So the one that's when I started giving them high fives when they finished their work, they really wanted those high fives, and they really wanted those stars when they did something well. And specifically, the one that I noticed the most improvement was the one that was like a little bully who kind of does his own thing. So I gave him negative reinforcement, but when he does finish his work and he finishes first, I give him a high five, good job, and I give him 2 stars. And every time I give high five, eventually when he finished it, I think one time I was checking someone else, and he was trying to grab my hand to high five him. He wanted that high five. He's like, I need you to acknowledge that I finished first. I need you to acknowledge that I did good. And I was like, yes, okay, good job, high five. And then they really want that positive reinforcement. So Even though they misbehave, they still need that positive reinforcement, like every single student, and they need that negative reinforcement, that negative feedback loop. So I found that this particular this performance review really was helpful and impactful for my development as an English teacher. So thank you for tuning into today's episode. If you liked what you listened to, subscribe, and I will put out more content. Thank you.